and you see how all of this can seem like it was you.
Wait, do you think that I'm the one pulling the strings?
What if I said I do?
I'm not!
Raya, we first meet her and we think she's an investigator, and over time we discover that she is a psychologist and she is researching and working with Danny on his case. I guess what's the challenge of working with a character where you have to be withholding about who they are up front? Is that more about, the perspective of, the directing, or, do you have to think about how you're sitting in these, conversations between you and Tom on screen?
Yeah, there's a professionality that needs to be present, and she needs to feel like she's somebody he can trust right off the bat, but that there's a professional distance and structure to how she's handling questions and how she's speaking to him. It's like you have to be very gentle and patient in order to get information. I learned a lot about how therapists speak to their patients, and I now when I talk to my therapist, I can see the same. I was actually shadowing her without her knowing when I was talking to her, because I was like, I needed to have that vibe.
So was that your research in your own personal life?
Yeah.
Or did you go into any other deeper, I guess, dives on the psychologist front?
Well, Akiva Goldsman's mom was a psychiatrist, and she wrote this incredible book, and she did amazing things in her life. She's like a saint. And he based Raya on her, Mira. And so I read the book, and it was amazing. Beautiful woman. She did incredible things for children. And then my mom also is an occupational therapist, so she works in a psych rehab, and so she has a lot of experience, and I talked to her a lot about it. I talked to my therapist a lot about it. I talked to another therapist a lot about it. And Akiva is also a therapist, trained, and so I talked to him about it. It was just I had a rich, toolbox to just, tap into, and I felt really, really taken care of and safe to play her.
Obviously, the conversations between Danny and Raya are a lot of the show itself, but we get to see her talk to his alters in the form of the actors that are portraying them. What was it like, I guess, the first time you worked with Tom when he was the person channeling all of these different alters? Because as a viewer, it's startling. So I can't imagine what it was like to film those sequences.
No one's asked me that question before. I like it. I think it was fascinating. It was unpredictable. I mean, I knew what his lines were because I've read the script, but I didn't know how he was going to play that. And it was the first time, I think the first time I meet Danny as somebody else, he's Jack. And Raya's reaction is awe, because she might be right, or is this kid, screwing with her? It was such a fun dance to try to, as the character, try to rein him in, and to try to gather as much information as she could without scaring him, without Jack going away. It was such a crazy dance, and Tom was amazing as these other characters. It's like the role of a lifetime, and he really rose to the challenge. It was really fun. It was so crazy.
We're unsure about what's going on with Danny until partway through the season, and then he finally starts embracing these alters that he is, that are in his mind. So for you, what was it like, I guess, embracing that aspect of him on screen for the first time? And how much research did you have to do, of your co-stars' performances throughout filming to get those beats right?
It's a really great question. I mean, we had so much fun kind of as young actors figuring out how to bring these characters to life. It was somewhat like a drama school exercise, where we're on set or we're off set and we're doing some prep work, and we'd just be running scenes, we'd be rehearsing scenes, and I would ask them if they would feel comfortable trying it a certain way. And I was so lucky that all of my co-stars were so game for this kind of experiment that the Crowded Room is. So for me, I really embraced the process. For them, they really embraced the process.
In terms of getting into character, was it, like the way that you stand, or is it the way that you're talking that kind of helps ease you into the characters that you're embracing in those moments? Or, like what was your into getting into those shifts in his mood and his attitude?
We had some sort of great catchphrases that were kind of donned by each character. Mike was, "Hey, what up, sis?" And that would kind of get me into that hot, like more Brooklyn accent. Johnny's was, "Screw Farrah Fawcett, no, Danny, screw Annabelle." So we would go through. I forget what Jack's was something along the lines of like, "That wouldn't serve." So like I would just repeat these kind of catchphrases which would help me get into their kind of frame of mind and their kind of vocal aesthetic, I guess. So it was fun. It was a really cool exercise. I had it. My dialect coach Rick Lipton was with me, whose birthday is also today, which is fantastic. He's a great ally. And then Ben Perkins, my acting coach. I couldn't have done this without him. He was so encouraging and he's so honest that sometimes I'd be doing something and one of the directors would come in and talk about how fantastic it was, and then Ben would come in and be like, "That was really bad. You have to change this." And I really appreciate the honesty that I have with Ben. So I couldn't have done it without him.
Well, it translates so well on screen, Tom. Thank you for your time.